we're going to be talking a little bit about going from Gmail to Pro. So, this is something that I feel a lot of us tax pros may, struggle a little bit. I feel, just kind of seeing the community grow and seeing our members come in through the community, I see this as a problem. So, I decided to create a mini course per se where we're going to walk through some real scenarios. I'm going to create a real pro account using Workspace so that way we can kind of work through the process of dumping that at Gmail email that you may have that your clients might see, and then converting it into a professional looking domain that you own and that you could start using today. With that, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So today, I like to kind of give you a rough overview of what the agenda is going to look like and what we're going to cover, because by the end, I hope hopefully the information that I'm going to provide is going to help motivate you to go ahead and get that real business name in your email. So we're going to go ahead and transition from a at Gmail to a domain that you own, and it is your business name, and we're going to walk through a real live demo of going through the entire buying process. We're going to buy the domain, we're going to search for your name. I have a sample name that I'm going to use, and we're going to go through that process of from start to finish. We're going to launch a professional email, which from there is going to transition into creating aliases, right? The info, hello, taxes, support at your company name. Then from there, the number one reason why a lot of people don't transition over is because they already have an established email and a lot of their clients are already using them. So we're going to look at ways of how we can create a forwarding address so that way you can start that clean transition and no email gets missed. And then we're also going to talk about the other cool features that come with Google Workspace, such as scheduling and its connectability with Claude. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So let's really start addressing the main issue why a at Gmail works against you. And I will be 100% honest and transparent. Ever since I joined the Tax Pro community, or even in my other niche, which I do wedding photography as well, and I go out to different events and network with different people, and I start introducing myself, and the conversation starts, and maybe there's people that I want to follow up with, and I ask them like, how can I get in contact with you? Whether either they give me a business card or they just send me their email. And when I see their business name at Gmail, I will be honest with you. I myself lose a little bit of trust in that individual. Are you really a business? Are you really taking yourself serious? How can I make sure that you're not going to disappear if I want to do business with you? So it's for me personally, it's not a deal breaker at all, but it is harder for me to trust somebody when I can't even take them serious if they don't even have a real domain name for their email. It also looks unfinished. You must not even own it. Or sometimes, if you're trying to scale, send more emails, or even build an email list, it's hard to deliver emails when you have an at Gmail domain. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this today is because, just follow me here for a second. We as tax pros have so many things going on in our day-to-day life. And especially if we're solo entrepreneurs, we wear multiple hats. And jumping into this niche with Nadia, working with her directly, I noticed that there's a lot of, well, we got to use TaxDome for this, we have to use Gmail for that, then we have to use Dropbox here, and it just keeps it all over the place. Where when we decided to transition everything over to Gmail, we kind of brought the best of both worlds to one single location. So we had our domain, our email, our storage, our calendar, and of course, Gemini, which is Google's AI. And I love Gemini. It's one of my second runner ups as far as my AI tools. My go-to tool is Claude, but Gemini is up there because of some of the things that I'll explain in a little bit that it does. But it comes included inside your workspace account. Again, like I mentioned, the main thing is keeping everything consolidated, right? So I used to have our email host, or I'm sorry, our domain host with GoDaddy. And then if I wanted to have email, I would have to go to Outlook, and then so on, so on, and so on. And then the applications just kept on adding up, and it was hard for me to keep up. with all these logins. And now we have everything consolidated into the domain, the email, the apps, and everything lives inside of Google. But before we continue diving into that, let's talk about what the tools that you already may know, right? We know Google has Gmail, they have Docs and Sheets, Google Drive, Google Meets, right? So we don't have to have a Zoom account or any other type of meetup account if you're wanting to schedule meetings with your clients, your calendar, and Gemini. Now, I put a QR code here at the top right. If you want to kind of further dive into the pricing options that Google offers, but here's just some of the ones that we're just going to cover real quick, right? So we have our starter plan, we have our business standard, and our business plus. For the most part, I think we'll either be on the starter plan or the business standard, depending how big your firm is. We here at Nadia CPA Inner Circle, we are inside the business standard. Why? Because there's four of us in our team. So each of us have our own Google Drive space, up to 2 terabytes of space. So we can share and store a lot of our information there. We have other cool things like Google Meets. So I'll tell you this, Zoom is very expensive, right? We have to have Zoom for meetings, uh, uh, for especially for the CE stuff that we do, that we have to make sure that we get registrations, whatnot. But if you're looking to just meet up with your client and have a monthly advisory meeting with them, you can just schedule it all within Google Meets. It all goes in through your calendar and it all lives in one workspace. Hopefully that kind of got everybody's attention, like, okay, maybe this is the direction I want to start going. But is my domain or is my email even available? My camera went off here. Oh, there it is. Is my domain even available? So the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to walk through on how we can find a domain. Now, if you don't own a domain, that's totally fine. I will walk you through the steps on how we do that. So here's just a quick overview, right? To start, first thing we got to do is my name available, my business name available. So the first thing we got to do is go to Google Workspace or workspace.google.com, and there's going to be a free option there. After that, we're going to enter our email, the team size, and then we're going to choose to either buy a domain, or if we already have one, say you already have one from GoDaddy, or there's other domain companies out there that sell you a domain, you can either migrate that over or purchase it right then and there. And during the demo, I will explain a little bit more on why I feel it's better to have your domain hosted by Google versus in GoDaddy. GoDaddy is, like, I think the most popular one there is. It's one of the original ones out there when there was the internet boom. So that way it's still a household name in the internet business. But Google Workspace has come far along, and I think it's way easier to just manage everything all in house. So let's go ahead and get started with that real quick. And I will stop the share on this side, and I'm gonna bring in my Google screen over here. So that way everybody can see exactly what we're working on. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to go to workspace.google.com. There we go. So when you go to workspace.google.com, see, PD, thank you for looking out at the R. So here, when if we want to look at the different pricing options, you can just go to the pricing screen, and here's the same pricing. I personally am a fan. If I could save, and I know I'm going to be in business for a while, I'm going to pay for the yearly membership because I end up saving a little bit more for paying throughout the year. Plus, I am not a fan of seeing reoccurring fees coming out of my bank account. So if I just pay for it once and I'm done with it for the next year, then I'm happy with that. So let's start off with the starter plan. So the starter plan, who can this be for? Right? This could be for the solo practitioner. Let's just say you currently have a service with Dropbox, so you don't need a lot of their storage, right? You only get 30 gigabytes of storage, but eventually, once your Dropbox subscription ends, then you could bump it up to the 2 terabytes. It's got your secure custom business email. You get the Gemini AI tools. You get the chat with AI in Gemini app. You get Google Video Meets, and then you get a couple of different add-ons as on top of that. However, with the standard plan, you get a little bit more from that. You get a little bit more from for that. You get Gemini Notebook, which Gemini Notebook is a pretty cool tool for those that have a lot of PDFs. And I think Nadia uses Gemini, excuse me, Notebook LM a lot because she grabs a lot of PDFs with its content research or things that she's studying, puts it in there, and it helps consolidate all of that and helps you basically create you like a study guide, so you can kind of learn a little bit more with that. So Notebook LM is pretty cool. And then on top of that, you get more video meetings. But the other bonus part here is the appointments booking. So if you are thinking about moving from like Calendly or any other booking company, right? That's another subscription that you can get rid of. And then it all stays in-house. You can do your appointment booking, you could do your calendars, you could do your video meetings, etc. So let's just go with the standard, right? We're gonna go ahead and start our trial. So we're gonna go ahead and hit that. I'm going to go ahead and put in our company name. We're going to call ourselves Honest Tax and Advisory, right? Because we are all honest in our job type in our job line, right? We are one of the most honest people that we can be out there. So it's just me right now, right? I don't have a team, which is totally fine. And I'm just going to copy this here for now because we're going to have to paste this in to search for the domain. Now it's going to ask for some information. Since I already have a Google account, it's going to say, "Hey, wait a minute, we already, found you. Do you want to sign in with that one?" No, I want to create a separate business account. So we're going to create a new Google Workspace account. Now, here's the part where if you happen to have already a domain that you previously purchased and want to migrate it over, you would select this option. And let's just say if you are with GoDaddy, and then you continue with this method, it's going to give you some set of instructions, and they're fairly easy instructions to follow to be able to go through the step-by-step process and get that migrated over into Google. And it usually takes about 24 to 48 hours to propagate, to fully propagate over. And now that account fully lives in Google Workspace. But because we are creating a new account with a new custom domain, we're going to see if our business name is available. So let's go ahead and select get a new custom domain. Here is where we're going to plug in the domain. So I kind of made a copy and paste because I didn't want to type all that out again. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about, the differences between Google and GoDaddy, for example. So with GoDaddy, if we were to visit the GoDaddy website and you do the same process, you go and search for your domain, it's going to say, "Hey, we're going to sell you this domain for 1 cent for the year." Oh, and you're like, "Wow, that's a pretty good deal. Why would I not want to buy it for 1 penny for a year?" But then you're committed to a 3-year contract with them. And then after that, every year after that, the same domain name is going to cost you from $20 to $30 per year. So you're walking out paying $30 per year for every year for that same domain, where here in Google, it's just $12 a year. So this part is a yearly membership. And think about it like you're owning this business name on the web, right? Um, you want to purchase it per year. Now, if they give us options to do multiple years, then I would love to just again pay for it once. I'm planning to be in business for at least 5 years. Why not, give me a longer term? But Google only gives us a once a year type of scenario. The other thing that I wanted to do is show y'all, and let me see if I can get back into it because I wanted to share one more thing here before I accidentally clicked on all of that. Let me hit refresh. Okay, since I already had clicked on it, I should have not clicked on it so far yet. But I wanted to talk about the different .coms, .net, .biz, right? So .com is the original one, the one that's been for a long time. If the .com is available for you, jump on that because that is the one that is worldwide recognized or known to be able to be a domain. There's new ones like .tax, .info. I think I've seen another one called .io, right? Those are the newer ones that are not as popular. So somebody that's a client of yours that is trying to remember your business name and trying to search you on the web, right? They're used to .com, right? That's pretty much everything that's out there. So if you have something like it that is .biz, and then they go to honest tax and advisory .biz or .com, is going to error out. They're going to be like, well, I can't find them anymore. Never mind. Let's move on. So if there is a .com available, I would suggest jumping on that and owning that information. Now here, I'm just going to plug in some of my information just because we are creating an account. We're going to go ahead and do Texas. Okay. And this is the part that whenever you are creating your username, right, you are wanting to, if you are your own administrator, I would say just use your first name, right? Because this is the name that is going to house all the other aliases, or even when you log in to your Gmail account, you're going to want to make sure that it is yours. And in this scenario, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to create first name is just going to be George. So now you see here how now it gave me that at honesttaxandadvisory.com. Okay, I'm going to create my password here. Okay, once you enter your first name and your password that you choose, go ahead and hit continue, agree and continue. Another conversation point is we don't ever want to save on Google passwords. There's been a lot of security reasons why, and I will create another video on what we use to better lock in your services, your username and passwords. Okay, so for now, let's go ahead and do the 14-day trial. We're going to start the trial. And of course, go through all the paywall information here. Let me see if I can do this. One click, one stop. Hopefully, I can go ahead and do this, add a payment method. So now, what's due today? Of course, there's a 14-day trial. So let's just say if you don't like it, you can go ahead and cancel within 14 days. If not, then you're committed for $12 a year. And now I own this. So now this is the name that you can use to build a website. I think I saw Erika ask below here. Yes. So this is the name that now I can use if I wanted to go to Wix, Squarespace. We use WordPress. But now I am the owner of honesttaxandadvisory.com. So yes, once you own this name, every year you have to pay to continue owning this name. So I'm going to go ahead and just plug in some information here. Jorge Rodriguez. I'm going to create my account again. Again, first name. Let's see here. It's going to send me some signing information there. And now it's telling me it's going to charge me $8.40 a month for the Google Workspace, right? So we already own the domain, $12. I can do whatever I want with that. I can go, I don't have to stay with Google if I don't like the services. I can go to Microsoft and have my domain used with Microsoft. But Microsoft doesn't offer all the application. And if they do, well, it's a little bit more expensive with Microsoft. So we're going to skip for now. But if you do have a team, and it's going to tell you for every other person that you have on your team, it's going to cost you $8.40. So if I'm the CEO and then I have an administrator, then you want to say, hey, administrator, I'm going to give you your own email. It's going to cost you $8.40. And every other user that you add, it just keeps adding up that fee. So that way you don't have users that are still using a at Gmail and everybody can email within. Or if you're meeting clients and you're going to say, hey, I'm going to have my admin email you some information, your admin has now a Google Workspace email. All right, so now we're gonna go and set up the accounts. All right, so what we're gonna do is we wanna send emails. We're gonna upload and share, bring all the ideas over, or bring all the data over. Right, that's what I love about Google. They make it easy for you to migrate from a different company. So if you do have OneDrive, it's easy for you to just bring all that data over and let it kind of do silently in the background while you kind of migrate all your information over to one centralized location. And here are some of the tools, again, like I mentioned earlier, that we can use, right? So we're going to select all the ones that we already use, like we use Gmail, Calendar, all of these other items, right? And then you could go through the list if you have Dropbox, Zoom, DocuSign, etc. Right? You can kind of go through this list. For now, we're just going to go ahead, continue with those top three. Now, first things first, one thing I need to do is create my backup account. So what does that mean? creating your in case you forget your password, right? You need to have somewhere where you can reset it and it's yours. And that's where your at Gmail comes in. So when we set up that means if let's just say if I forget the password or if I feel like somebody hacked in, it's going to send the like a 2FA verification to my other email because I'm the owner of the original email. So that way I can verify. So let me go ahead and slide over here. Okay. So to do this, next thing we need to do first is go into our admin console. Now, when you do have a admin console, this is where everything lives for your business as far as your email, who has access, your aliases, and all that good stuff. And if you're really tight on security, or if you feel like, hey, I don't trust my team to be searching certain websites, this is kind of where you can put some restrictions in behind the scenes because you are now the administrator of this account. But for that, first, let me first create my backup email. Let's go ahead and first start with our users, right? If you wanted to go and add more users, you go into the left-hand panel, you have your home, you have your directory, and from under the directory, you can add another user. So let's just say you hired your first hire. You have a bookkeeper that you want to work with that is working in your firm and you want them to have direct access email to the firm's email. You would come in here, you would add a user, where go to add new, and it's as simple as adding their first name, their last name, and their email. So let's just say, for example, here, you're hiring me. I'm your new bookkeeper. So you're going to hire, let's call me Rodriguez. Let's go with J Rod because that's what everybody calls me, J Rod. And then Rodriguez. But I am J Rod at Honest Tax and Advisory. Here is where you would add their secondary email. So if they have a personal email that they want to use to get updates, that's totally fine. I I I don't add secondary emails to employees because then they can kind of forward information to their own private email and you may not even have control of what's being sent or what's being delivered or the communications that they're storing. So this is only if it's somebody that you know, if it's a family member that works with you, or if it's a partner that you want to, make sure that they can get a backup of their emails in case they get locked out, then you would add a secondary email address. But for the most part, as a security standpoint, the only person that has should have uh, a secondary email address is the admin, the owner. So that's how you add a new user. But in this situation, let's just say, hey, George, I really like how some people have like info at my business name or hello or support or help. Let's go ahead and create that. By creating one, we have to go create what's called an alias. And as I keep getting ahead of myself, let me go back into the presentation and bring up that slide for the alias. Give me 1 second here. Hopefully, this information is useful and everybody's finding it handy. Mm, mm, Let's see here. PDF. There it is. So now we just launched the email, did that already. Now we're at the create your alias. And what is the alias? Like I mentioned again, it's the info, the hello, the if you want to create a billing, but you don't have to purchase all of these inboxes. It's a way of masking your personal inbox or your work inbox to redirect those back to you. So I personally have like 7 different aliases because I run a lot of different parts of our company. So I have support. So if anybody has any issues with our tax training academy and they email support at taxtrainingacademy.com, guess who gets it? Me. If they have, hey, I want to know more about the upcoming S Corp Masterclass and they hit info at tax training academy, guess who gets it? Me. So it's really one of those things that is just easy to create and you can add it within 2 minutes. So let's go ahead and walk through that workflow real quick. So Again, if you want to go under your left panel, if you're under your user or your directories, then you select your user. Now, the thing is, you got to click on your username. And here, as your user, you want to, add a profile photo. So this profile photo gets shared with anybody within that gets your email. But then what I want to do is I want to add an alias. So if we scroll down just a tad bit where we can add alternate emails, here you can create as many as you want. So here we're going to create one for info at Honest Tax and Advisory. You can have one that goes for support. You can even have one that says no reply, right? I've seen some that are no reply, and it's really for the, like, if you have newsletters for your clients but you don't want them to reply. For the most part, sometimes some of them do reply, but if you're like, hey, this is a no reply email, it'll say no reply, and that's how you get all of those. Now, if you do want to have a account that is, only for no replies, then you would have to purchase an additional user and then create the profile from there. But for the most part, Alias is really cool because you get to have multiple emails under one account. Or you could have, let's just say you hire George again as your tech support, but he's also your admin. And you want everybody to email you admin at Honest Tax and Advisory. Well, you create one that says admin, and I myself will get the email. So it's pretty much the same process. It's just adding it to the users. Once you get done with that, you hit save. And now those alternate emails are owned by me. And same for you. You could do the same thing on your side. All right. Now the big question, right? I'm scared of making this change because I have a lot of history already with my clients emailing me to honest tax and advisory at Gmail. And it's totally understandable, right? We've had this email for years and I don't want to make any change, or, I don't want to scare my clients off because we're saying, hey, now you need to start emailing me over here. Well, there's a quick solution for that. Okay. And I'm going to use a real email to share with y'all. So, as I mentioned earlier, I do photography. And in the beginning of my career, I had my Gmail account. I still have it, but now it's more for newsletters and spam, things that I sign up for. I still have it there, but I don't check it as frequently. So this is my Images by JRod account. And how do we set up the email forwarding? It's super easy and it only takes a couple clicks. So if you are a current Gmail user, and I'm pretty sure Outlook has or Microsoft has the same functionality. I don't know the steps on how to get there. So you might just want to Google, how do I set up forwarding email for Microsoft? If you want to set that up for that account. But for if you already have an existing at Gmail account, you would actually go into your Gmail, then you would go into your settings. So on your Gmail bar, you have a little gear that's called settings. And then we're going to drive down all the way down to all settings. And don't worry, I have the instructions for this on how to do this. So after the presentation, I will give you the presentation deck, and it has all these step-by-step instructions. But from this point, we're going to go ahead and hit, let's see here, where's it at? Oh, there it is. We're going to hit forwarding and pop/map. So we're going to go to this option here. And right there, we're going to set up a forwarding email. So, what does the forwarding email do? The forwarding email is if your client emails you to your existing email account and you're wanting to receive it in your new Google Workspace account, and you don't want to miss anything that's important, the email that you add here as your forwarding email address is that anything that comes in directly to this inbox, your firm name at Gmail, is now going to be sent over to your first name at yourfirmname.com, right? So that way you don't miss any client communication. So in here, we're just going to type in Jorge at Honest Tax and Advisory.com. And of course, it's going to make me want to sign in. Yes, it's me. I love Touch ID. I don't have to put my password all the time. And now it's going to just confirm, hey, confirming with you, you want me to forward all the emails to George at Honest Tax and Advisory. And I'm going to say, yes, proceed. So now it's saying, okay, we're setting the forward email address. You just got to go and confirm it. So now what I have to do is go confirm that conversion. So you just go back to your Workspace admin account and then just go to your Gmail. It might ask me to sign in, of course, all these pop-ups that says, say, log in. Mm-mm-mm. Let's go ahead and add a new profile. All right. Let me go ahead and sign in. So these are some of the steps that we just have to do in the beginning. Once you get set up, of course, it's all done. Honest tax and advisory.com. I'm going to put our secret password. Okay, welcome to your new account. Get it. I understand. Now it's there. We're going to go ahead and continue. It's going to create my profile. Save time, type less. Sure. And I'm going to give it a nice little color just to kind of distinguish it here. And why is it not? Oh, there it is. Some of these buttons are hidden. All right. There it is. So now we go to our Gmail and validate or confirm that, yes, we're asking to get forwarded over here. So there it is. There's your email. And it's just confirming that, hey, we're asking, you're going to receive any new email from imagesbyjrod.com or whatever your current Gmail account is. So that way, again, you don't miss any emails from your client. And on top of that, the other thing that we're doing is we're slowly kind of seeing, okay, maybe I did sign up for a lot of newsletters, a lot of different subscriptions that I'm like not really reading or even paying attention. So as they come into your account here, you can now see, you know what, I have this, email from George that he sends me every other day. He's kind of getting annoying. Let me unsubscribe from him. And then you can kind of start fresh, right? That's the goal. You can either unsubscribe or just change the email preference to only show up to there. Now, the email forwarding, you can always go back in a couple months. Once you're like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to get more emails from everybody. You can go back to the same settings and remove that. So going back over here, going into my Google Workspace and disable the email forwarding from there. You can just go ahead and remove the inbox. And it's just as easy as clicking 1, 2, 3. Make sure I'm in the right email. Forward, disable. So you could go from there. And then once you confirm, it'll give you the save changes option. So that's how you forward your email so you don't miss anything from your clients. We're almost there, y'all. Okay. Now, the cool thing is, like I mentioned earlier, you can also turn on your appointment scheduling. So if you're looking to save money from Calendly, or maybe you don't even have a scheduling account for your clients, it's one easy way to do. And the way we do that is still going back to our workspace. This time, we're going to use our Google Calendar to set that up. And let me bring this back up here so that way everybody can see. Mhm. So now what we do is go to your Google Apps. We're going to go to our calendar. And of course, all this new stuff. Hey, you're new. Welcome. Got it. Change the color tone if you like it light or dark. But how you set up a scheduler? You go to create, and now you have your appointment scheduler. So you, if you have different types of appointments, let's just say you want a new client consultation, you would create a new client consultation. If you have an existing client follow-up meeting that you want to send to all your existing clients, and you only want to set those to certain days, let's just say you only want to meet with your clients Tuesdays or Wednesdays, or even Mondays and Fridays, that's the only days that you can meet with your clients. You can go in and set the title, set the appointment duration, and all of the extra stuff that you want to put as far as time, availability. And if you want to make sure, let's just say you're 100% virtual, so you only want to meet virtually, you can include the Google Meets on here. Let's just say here it is oh, it's in the next screens after this. And then it'll give you the option, do you want this to be an in-person meeting or a virtual meeting? And then you can make that selection, so that way it creates the link for you and your client, so that way they have no, you don't have to copy and paste from another website to bring it over here and then email it to them and say, hey, here's our meeting, right? It's all in one spot. So that's the other beautiful part about moving over to Google Workspace. And again, here are some of the instructions. I will include all of these in the presentation. And one thing that I didn't forget, it just didn't transfer over. For the follow up, the email forwarding, I did include a QR code here. I did create a template that you can start using with your current clients in your current Gmail, or Outlook or Yahoo. I even have one client that uses at AOL, and I didn't even know AOL still existed. So if you use AOL, don't get offended, but I think it's time to kind of bring it up to 2026. So I saw AOL. I was like, man, my mom used AOL back in the day. But I created an email template that is copy and paste to let them know, hey, exciting news. We are moving over to our new email, and you can start forwarding or emailing us here directly. And then you can include the list of emails there. And I believe I have a preview of that email here. Let me just share that with y'all real quick. Where's it at? There it is. It is called the client email migration announcement. And it's really a copy and paste. You fill in some of the blanks for you, and they're ready. It's a ready to send draft. So that way you just copy and paste. You could do either a mass email where you BCC all of your client lists, or if you want to do individual ones, or your active list. And then you can send them one by one if you want to make it more personalized. But there's two different copies. There's a longer version, and then there's a reusable template that you can use for every other client that's a little bit more customizable. So y'all will get that as well, and you can copy and paste and just update what you need to update on there. And lastly, where are my Claude users? Right? Any Claude users in the building, please let me know, because Google has a lot of connectors that you can use with Claude. So some examples, you can use Claude Google connector to have Claude go in, fetch some of your emails, and give you a daily update of what's going on in your inbox. Or you could tell Claude, hey, Claude, connect to my Google Calendar and block out next week because I need a little bit of time off and I don't want anybody to sneak in to my calendar. And it was within 2 seconds it does it. Or, hey, Claude, go into my Google Drive and go find me this client file that I need to quickly review. Once you find that file, give me a heads up what's in that file. What do I need to know? So it helps you prepare. On top of that, there's other Google connectors that you can use, but these are some of the main ones that we use in house just because they all communicate with each other. And that's what you call agentic AI. When you start creating your agents to go and do certain things or certain actions within your Google Workspace. And of course, there's settings and permissions that you have to allow. I recommend that you go through them. If not, if you're a pro member, we did complete our 8 weeks of AI using Claude series, where we specifically talk about connectors and what actions you should enable and what you should enable or disable. But that is a very good series, and we're going to continue that AI series inside the pro community section. So just to kind of start wrapping some of the things up real quick, some of the things that you can always do with the Gemini AI is help me summarize an email or help me create a warm reply. What does my calendar look like, right? The Google Workspace uh, features all kind of talk with each other. Then you start implementing an AI tool like Claude. It just superpowers this entire uh, sequence of applications, all housed in under one service. So the last step again is making sure that you tell your clients. And there's my QR code. I moved it around, but there's the QR code. You could scan it and you can download that template. Either way, I'm going to share it inside the chat of this meeting and along with the presentation and power deck. So now the next steps are doing a couple things. Is if you're interested in opening a domain or purchasing your domain, go to workspace.google.com and then kind of go through the process. Find your domain, find something that you're going to like, because that's what you're going to stick with for a long time. If it's not there, then try different variations of it. Um, Go ahead and create your professional inbox. Create your aliases. Turn on the forwarding. I think that's going to be the most important one for everybody, so that way you don't miss any client communication sent to your old inbox. Set up your calendar page, your booking page, and then if you have a Claude account, set up your Claude connectors. So that in itself is how you just build a real firm inbox for your business.